You ever wonder how a really simple story can create this powerful, unforgettable sense of mystery? Well, today we're going to find out. We're breaking down a narrative called Crash Site to see how it masterfully builds tension, creates conflict, and leaves us with a final thought that is, honestly, pretty haunting. Okay, so picture this. You're out hiking, you're totally isolated, miles and miles from civilization. And then something impossible happens. This question, right here, is the whole foundation of the story. It drops us right into the heart of the dilemma before we even know who we're dealing with. And boom, there it is. That single line of dialogue, that's the spark. It's the moment their ordinary, everyday world just cracks wide open and the real mystery begins. So who's at the center of this impossible discovery? We've got two friends, starting out in a really ordinary setting. That's about to get turned completely upside down. You know, the setup is so classic, but man, is it effective. Two friends, Max and Ben, on a remote trail. And that isolation, that's absolutely key here. It means there are no easy answers, no quick phone calls for help. And then, impact. Something falls out of the sky, and just like that, the story has its hooks in you. And check this out. The story is smart. It immediately gets rid of all the easy explanations. Ben says it himself. A weather satellite doesn't just fall out of the sky without anyone noticing. By just tossing those logical ideas out the window right away, the story forces both us and the characters to face a much more unsettling possibility. And that, of course, brings us to the very heart of the mystery, the object itself. This thing is the engine that drives the whole story, because it breaks all the rules we know. And as you're about to see, it's going to create a huge divide between our two main characters. I mean, just listen to that description. It survives re-entry, 10,000-degree heat, and a crash landing without a single scratch. The story is basically screaming at you, this is not from around here. It perfectly establishes this object as something completely and truly alien. So right away, this thing creates the central conflict. You've got Max over here just buzzing with curiosity. He sees something impossible and he has to understand it. And then you have Ben, who's all about caution and, frankly, fear. He sees the unknown and his first instinct is that it's a threat. And that tug of war between curiosity and fear, that's what's going to drive everything that happens next. So with that tension just simmering between them, suddenly an outside threat shows up and it forces their hand. They have to make a choice and it's one they can never, ever take back. And honestly, this is just a brilliant move by the writer. We never actually see who's coming. Are they military, some secret government agency, something else? By keeping them a total mystery, the story just cranks the paranoia up to 11. Because let's be real, an enemy you can't see, that is always way scarier. And right here, this is the turning point. They make a choice. They're not just onlookers anymore. The second they pick up that box, they've officially crossed a line. They are now part of the mystery, and there's no going back. And just like that, the whole pace kicks into high gear. The dialogue gets short, sharp, frantic. The vibe of the story shifts from wonder and awe to just pure survival. And it's crazy how fast the regret hits. That crushing weight of what they've done just slams down on them. When Ben says this, it's a signal. The adventure is over. This mystery isn't fun anymore. It's this terrifying weight they now have to carry. Okay, so after that frantic escape, the story does something really cool. It pivots. The main conflict stops being about an external threat, running from the bad guys, and becomes an internal one. It's not about the chase anymore. It's about what this box is doing to Max's mind. And you can see that shift perfectly on this timeline. We jump ahead, leaving behind the adrenaline of the chase and landing right in the middle of something way quieter, but honestly, a lot more creepy. The psychological fallout. This phone call, man, this is our only window into what's happening to Max. Ben's calling because he's worried, but Max, he's just different. When Ben asks if he still has the box, look at his reply. Of course I still have it. That's not just him answering a question. That's a statement. The box is clearly the center of his entire world now. So, right when we're really starting to understand how deep this obsession goes, bam! The outside world comes crashing back in. That simple sound of a knock on the door, it's suddenly the most terrifying thing in the world, because we know the outside world has finally caught up to him. So yeah, The threat isn't some vague shadow in the woods anymore. It's real, it's official, it's forceful, and Max is completely trapped. The consequences of that one decision he made are now literally knocking down his door. And then we get the twist. The voice coming from the box isn't some alien. It's Max's own voice, just repeating a phrase he must have taught it. See, the box was never some alien communicator. It was a mirror. Or maybe a recorder. It absorbed a piece of him, but what did it leave in its place? So the door smashes open, the authorities swarm in. To them, this is just an arrest, simple. But for us, because we know what just came out of that box, we're watching an absolute tragedy unfold. And just listen to his last words, his final plea. He's not asking for a lawyer, he's not begging for his freedom. All he wants is the box. His entire identity has been swallowed up by this obsession, that desperate need to know. It costs him literally everything. And all of this leaves us with one last, really haunting question. I mean, sure, Max is being taken away in handcuffs. But was he already a prisoner long before they even showed up? A prisoner to his own curiosity, trapped by this thing that just fed his obsession until there was nothing left of him? It's a perfect mystery. And it kind of reminds you that sometimes the most dangerous traps are the ones we set for ourselves.